Okay, so this next skill we're going to work on with example 3 is taking a description and drawing a diagram from that description. So it says sketch a diagram showing TV intersecting PQ so that, and I made a little bit of a typo here, so we're going to switch around these letters. I'm going to say TW is congruent to WV, okay? So we're going to be drawing a line, because TV is a line. I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to have that line contain points T and V, okay? And it says it's intersecting PQ. So I'm going to use a different color to draw PQ. The thing here we got to know is we're drawing it so that TW and V and WV are the same, okay? And I didn't mention point W, but this implies that PQ contains point W. So I'm going to draw point W so that it's a midpoint, so that TW and WV are the same length, okay? So that takes care of the congruence. And then from that, I'm going to draw it intersecting PQ. So PQ we know has to go through point W. So that's segment PQ. So the way I read this is sketch a diagram showing TV, line TV, intersecting segment PQ so that TV is basically cut in half. The segment TV is cut in half. So it's about drawing it and labeling each part of that diagram, okay, and picking apart the important information. So moving ahead, example 4, it says, which of the following statements cannot be assumed by the diagram? So we're just going to kind of do a basic check, yes or no type system here. So from this diagram, can I assume that A, B, and F are collinear? Well, let's look at it. A, B, and F. A is right here, B is right here, F is right here. I would say that can be assumed, right? They're all shown as part of the same line. So I would say that can be assumed. They're all drawn as being part of the same line. So we can assume they're collinear. Okay? Points E, B, and D are collinear. Look at E, B, and D. Now, if I look at them, it looks like I could draw a line through all three of those. However, there is no drawn line connecting them. So we can't assume that they are collinear, that they're part of the same line. So I would say something about how no drawn line connects E, B, and D. Okay? No drawn line connects them, so I can't assume that they're part of the same line. So it's being literal, you know? Unless it's marked, unless it's shown and drawn, we can't assume that. Next, AB is perpendicular to plane S, meaning AB and plane S make a right angle. So if we look at AB, it's right here. Plane S is this flat horizontal plane, and we see this marking of a right angle. So since there is a marking with a right angle, we can assume that. That can be assumed. Okay, that can be assumed because, mainly because that right angle marking is right there. Okay, so this right angle marking is right there, so we can assume that. And then AF being perpendicular to plane T. Well, AF, where is AF? AF is this segment here. Okay. And AF being perpendicular to plane T, well, let's look at that. AF is on plane T, right? So how can it be perpendicular if it's on that plane? So I would say no. AF is on plane T. Can't assume it because it doesn't make any logical sense, right? And then the last one, BC intersects CD at point B. Okay, BC intersects CD at point B? No. I would say no. And you could say something about how no, it actually intersects at point C. Okay? We can assume that because the point is clearly drawn, that they intersect at that point. So a lot of this is, if it's drawn, we can assume. If it's not drawn, we can't assume. So things like right angles and perpendicular, we need to see that right angle symbol. For lines, we need to have the line drawn. For lines intersecting, we need the lines drawn and the intersection of those lines shown as a point. So it's all about assuming. You got to take it literally. It's got to be shown in the diagram for us to assume. If it looks like it, we can't assume unless it's marked, okay? So you can move on to the practice and then the checkpoint. I included a link to the checkpoint in the lesson. Please do not do the checkpoint until you are ready. You only get one chance at that checkpoint, and if you fail, you will have to do a mini lesson over again to show me that you learned it. So make sure you do the practice before you do the checkpoint. When you're finished with the lesson, please turn the lesson in on Classroom so that I know you worked on it and finished it. Okay? If you're not sure how to share your practice, send me an email and we will figure that out. But you should be able to attach your practice to the lesson before you turn it in. So just take a picture of your practice, attach that picture of your practice to the lesson, and then turn the lesson in. If you have any questions on that process, email me and I'll help you out. All right? So thank you guys for your work. We're going to be virtual for another week and a half, so make sure that you're checking in each day, the days that we meet for class and the times we meet for class, so that I can take attendance, because keeping track of you guys is going to be important, because I want to make sure that you're still learning and everything. So just make sure that you're checking in and asking questions, and I will do my best to help you and make sure that you're getting the best, education you can get from me.